Be the Best You podcast. The sole purpose of this podcast is to teach, inspire, and motivate everyone to be the best versions of themselves. What's up, everyone? It's your man LD Larry Dawson, and we're back for another episode of the Be the Best You podcast. Today we're going to switch things up a little bit because I have a good friend of mine, David, here, and he is actually going to ask me some questions today. So I'm being put on the spot. What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy? How you been?
Good, man. Tell everybody who you are and a little bit about yourself, man.
My name's David Hendrick, aka Dino. I'm born and raised in Monroe, North Carolina. I used to live in Myrtle Beach. We've known each other for, 30 years.
Yeah, long time.
So, yeah, I've watched you elevate and, just needed to come out and touch base with you.
Yeah, so, I knew him before I went to prison. We actually ran into each other in prison. Was at the same yard for a little bit. Actually became roommates for a little bit on that yard. And have, kept in contact with each other since we've come home. So I thought it would be interesting. I talk about prison sometimes with you guys. I thought it would be interesting to have someone on that knew me before, during, and after, and let them ask me some questions and pick my brain a little bit. So what was the questions you brought for me today, man?
Well, one of them, what on the fitness thing, like when you went into prison, you jumped straight into fitness, like really hardcore. You were into fitness before you went into jail. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it's something that's new or you're just starting it there. Mm-hmm. What really got you wanting to be into fitness? What inspired that?
Well, I think it started when I was young. When I was a kid, I had some crazy stuff happen to me. We were really poor. We didn't have much. And then after Hurricane Hugo, we lost everything that we did have. I was molested really bad when I was a kid from the age of 6 to 7. I used to get beat really bad by my mom's boyfriend and ex-husband. And I used to get picked on really bad at school. And, we didn't have anything. We were broke. I was the weird kid. I was quiet. I was shy. I had a lot of stuff going on outside of school, so I didn't quite fit in there. And I used to get picked on a lot, and kids would beat up on me a lot. And, I didn't like that. Obviously, no one would like that. My grandfather was a professional boxer. At 12 years old, we moved back up north for 2 years. During those 2 years, my grandfather taught me how to box for those 2 years. I actually fought in Golden Gloves. Won Golden Gloves one of the 2 years that I entered it as a junior champion. And so I wanted to me at that point in my life, it seemed to me, I don't know if this is necessarily true because I'm sure my mom and my grandmother and people love me, it seemed like nobody really cared about me, right? Except for my grandfather. And I didn't want to disappoint my grandfather. I wanted to make him proud. So I wanted to become a boxing champion. I fought a bunch of amateur boxing matches, and I actually fought a few professional, and I fought a lot of MMA fights. During that time, MMA was kind of banned. So like when the fights I was fighting, I would fight at biker bars and like convention centers. Yep. And weird places like that. So I messed up. After he died, I got really bad in the streets, selling drugs, hurting people, doing crazy stuff. My life story. Yeah. So I had these aspirations to be a fighter and succeed and win a belt like my grandfather did. My fucked up lifestyle got in the way and ruined that for me. So when I went to prison, so I always worked out a little bit, I always kept myself in shape, I always fought a lot. When I went to prison, at first I didn't dive back head into it. But the first couple years of my prison sentence wasn't going the best. I was still doing time the same way I was acting on the street. Long story short, I've talked about it on here before, a conversation I had with my mother on my 25th birthday kind of was like the jarring point to wake me up. And when I did that, I knew that I had about 10 years left. So I created this 10-hour-a-day rule that I would dedicate 10 hours a day to becoming a better person. I would dedicate 7 hours a day on the mental side, whether it was reading books, whether it was going to school, whether it was studying, whether it was reading a newspaper, whether it was studying history, whether it was studying finance, whether it was studying other great people and mimicking them. And I would spend 3 hours a day on my physical fitness. And that was either where I was doing my jogging, or I would do, my workouts, or I would go out there and practice my martial arts or whatever. So I had this thought in my mind that if for 10 years straight I spend 10 hours a day every single day and don't take any days off, and if I really do that for 10 straight years every single day for 10 hours, then when I come home there shouldn't be anybody as sharp as me mentally or physically. So, I mean, you was roommates with me for a few years, so you saw that I never took any days off. I was like that every single day. And I felt like that. It worked. I felt like when I came home, I was mentally and physically stronger than everyone, which allowed me to hit the ground running when I come home, and to find success fairly quickly in those areas. And I truly believe that your spirit, your mind, and your body are connected, and it's a trifecta. And if one of those three is off, you cannot be complete. If you have one right, you're not complete. If you have two right, you're not complete. You have to have all three right to be complete. So I really focused on getting that trifecta lined up correctly. And my mental and physical really needed a lot of work. So I dedicated that. And then I knew, like, coming home, man, to be honest with you, I knew that I was in such physically great shape and my mind was so strong. I knew that I had these goals, these aspirations. I knew that I wanted to do motivational speaking. I knew that I wanted to help mentor and change people's lives. I knew that I wanted to be in the real estate world. I knew that I wanted to have successful businesses and a successful life. But I also knew that coming home as a convicted felon after being gone for 13 years, people weren't going to be knocking down my door for job opportunities. But I knew the one thing I could use to my advantage is the fact that that stuff doesn't necessarily matter in the fitness industry. So I could use the fitness industry to my benefit because of the shape I was in, because of the knowledge I had, because of being a former fighter, because of being able to be mentally strong and push other people, that I could use fitness as a way to catapult myself to these other aspirations I had. And that's what I did. I used it as a tool.
I mean, that's a good way to go at it, and you're right. That's you've driven from when I knew to where you are now, and it's like, it's a whole different ball game. Like I said earlier, it's tenfold what you were. I mean, I don't know your workout regimens anymore. I know how you were back then, and it was pretty extent. But your personality never changed, though. I mean, that's something that I can say I've seen and watched over the years, that you have been and continue to be a great person. It's not like you're flying by the wheel, so to speak. You know what I mean? You're really out there. You're involved in everything, just like you said earlier. When you get done, you got stuff to go do with your guys. So it's like, you're that dedicated to everything that you do in every aspect of your life, whether it be, your kids, your wife, your job, your life. You keep it going, and you're the reason why. And I commend you for that. I told you before, that's, it's very admirable to see men of our age, especially the conditions we've come from, where we've been, to see where you are. It's attainable, and men need to know that. Especially these young men nowadays, they need to realize that you got to reach for the goal. It's the longevity of it, not right here, right now. It's the longevity of life.
Yeah, I appreciate everything you said. Thank you. I also know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's fine. I am pretty straightforward, and I'm not with the bullshit. Yeah. And I think that people that know me well and get to know me and take the time to get to know me know that I might be as tough as a railroad nail, but I also have a heart as big as this room.
Oh, yeah.
And that, I'm going to not only make sure I succeed, but my family succeeds. Anybody else I care about succeeds. Anybody that I get close to succeeds. I'm going to push you, help you, inspire you, motivate you, all that stuff. I just think that a lot of times in life, people judge you based off of, like, okay, he's a convicted felon. Right. Hey, he's tatted up. Hey, he's a muscular guy. Hey, he speaks very direct. I don't like that he curses. I don't like this. But I don't care about any of that. I don't care about any of that, because if that's what you want to see, if you want to look at a book and say that book sucks because you only looked at the cover, that's fine. Look at the cover and say it sucks. But I guess what? If you open that book up and you read the pages in that book, you'll understand me and who I am and where I come from. And a lot of times the people that judge me based off that stuff, I laugh at it. And the reason I laugh at it is because they couldn't walk a mile in the shoes that I had to walk. Yeah, you might say you don't understand some of my decisions. You don't understand my life and what I went through. What I went through to get here would break 99% of people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the grind that you set to yourself. It's like you said before. You make goals and you run through them. And that's what most people don't want to do these days. They get a little bit of backlash on something, they're ready to run, they're ready to tuck tail, and if something goes on, you run right to it, fix it.
That's what you're supposed to do.
And that's what a man does.
Yeah.
And that's, not man or woman, I ain't gonna say just man, but, we're supposed to do as people is to, fix our problems, not, try to run from it or, I'm gonna quit and go, no, man, what's all that?
It's a soft-ass society that we're producing, and that we've created, the demasculation of men, the cancel culture, the participation trophies, the
I didn't get those.
no, you're not supposed to. The quitters mentality. We live in a society where it's a victim's mentality now, and it's almost like, oh, okay, I can out-victim you. Oh no, I can out-victim you.
Right.
I don't have time for none of that nonsense, man.
No. So, what's next for Larry? That's the question.
That's actually a really good question, man. I would say the best answer is I'm on this spiritual journey of becoming a better person in every aspect. I want to continue to grow with my business. Obviously, I own 3 businesses and they're all successful, and I'm very blessed and thankful for that. I have an amazing wife, the most amazing wife I could ever ask for. I'm very thankful for that. My kids and my stepkids are great. I have a beautiful home, cars, boats, condos, money in the bank. Life is beautiful. I don't have there's nothing I can complain about. I'll say that I want to further all of those things, make all of those things continue to grow and be better. But I'm on a deep spiritual journey inside of myself that necessarily can't be seen from the outside, but the peace that I have found internally over the last 3 years can't be explained in words. You would only have to experience it and feel it internally to know. To be in a life where you never felt peace, where you never felt true happiness, where you always felt like there was a knife against your throat, where you felt like your back was against the wall, where you felt all the stress and pressure of the world, and even your moments of joy and happiness, you never felt completely complete or full. To finally be at a place where you are completely at peace. There is no knife to your throat. You're not running off of, hate or pain or those type of fuels. You're actually running off of love and happiness and enjoying life, enjoying the process, understanding who I am within, the things that do make me happy, the joys in life, the small things. I said in one of my podcasts recently that I literally can go on my back deck on my porch, which you was just out there earlier. I can lay down that hammock for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours and be at complete bliss.
Yeah.
So I, to answer that question, I think the next thing in life is really to focus on my spiritual and life journey of just enjoying the peace that I have brought to my life and continuing that journey. So the second half of my life is this beautiful journey that I'm on, and not the crazy wild ride that the first 40 years were.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully the next 40 years are going to be a lot more comfortable.
Yeah, and that's my goal. Like, I still want to be a great husband. I still want to be a great father. I still want to be a great businessman. I still want to be a great coach. I still want to be a great friend. I still want to be a great mentor. I still want to be a great human being. But I've really started to embrace the process of the journey within, in our spirit, and our soul, and our meaning, and our reason for being here on earth.
Right. So
sorry if I went too deep for you guys just now.
Yeah, that's a real tough question sometimes because people don't understand the. You gotta find that spirituality before you can really be good to people, you know. And it's
if you're not right within, then you can't be right for nobody else.
facts. So another thing, I've had my personal qualms when I came home, things that I've tried to overcome. What is something that coming home has been an obstacle that you've fought to get over or by?
You know how I was back there, man.
Yeah.
I was very rigid and very militant.
Right.
We talked about this earlier with my wife, and when we was talking. In 13 years, I only met a handful of people that did time their way. And I did my entire time my way, and I didn't budge or flinch. I was very focused on building the mind and the body and the spirit, so I'll be ready for the task that came. I think I underestimated all the aspects of life because I can't rest if let's just make up a number. Let's say there's 10 focal points in life. I can't rest if I only have 5 of those on point that I'm really good at, and 5 are messy or halfway or even 80% good.
Right.
I want to be great at everything. So unless all 10 of those can be great, I can't rest.
Right.
So I was able to succeed very quickly with some of the things that I wanted to do. You know, it was financial or fitness or, you know, stuff like that, motivating people or taking care of myself. But you have to factor in all the different aspects of life. And I needed to get all those right because I would be pulling ahead in some areas and some areas would be falling behind. And I'm not okay with that. Like, how many of us know people that have really succeeded financially, but other parts of the area suck? Like their relationships falling apart or blah, blah, blah. Whatever the scenario is, I can't live like that. I don't want to live like that. That's not who I want to be. That's not acceptable to me. I can't have 2 or 3 or 4 things right and the rest lacking or slacking. I have to have every aspect right. I want to be great at everything. And I don't understand people and people's mindset that settle for anything less than that because there's no reason. We all have the same amount of time in the day. We're all built the same. We're all human beings. We all have the ability to do it. You know, the only thing difference is I won't settle where other people will settle. So my major hiccup was like, yo, you need to chill out because you're pulling too far ahead in these areas and these areas are slacking. So getting myself to pull back and get these right and making sure that I had all of them right, which that took some figuring out for me. That was a little bit of a puzzle. That was a little bit of a struggle. And I'm thankful I was able to work through that with trial and error and get all those on point and lined up because it brought unrest to me.
Yeah, you're big on focal points now, you know. To make sure everything is lined up. A lot of people live that way. I mean, some people don't think about, you know, having everything set in that one to be able to push it the right way. Because, you know, if you're lacking in your relationship and you're doing great at work, what's that doing for your household? If you're doing good at home but you're lacking at work, I mean, it all has to coincide.
It does.
So, you know, that's a big thing. What would you say has been your turning point since you came home that's made everything better? Like, when did you realize that, you know, you were heading in the direction that you wanted to go? When did you realize that?
I mean, I never lacked for confidence, so I always had confidence in my ability to get everything straightened out and lined up. The last conversation I had with my mother before she passed away, I went to see her. I spent 4 days with her at Christmas. And right before I was leaving town to come back up here, she was living at the beach. I said, do you want to go see Silver? We can go by there and grab some dinner, and then I'll take you home and I'll leave. I already have my stuff packed up and everything. She was like, yeah. So I drove her. We went to go see Silver, and I was asking her some questions during the drive, and she was giving me like politically correct answers. She wasn't like diving deep into them. And so like on the way back, I was like, no, I'm serious, Mom. I was like, I really would like for you to give me answers on some of these questions. I'm asking you your real opinion on those, not just, don't give me fluff and puff answers. Be real with me. Give me some deep answers on those. And she answered those questions, but she didn't stop there. She went even further, and she told me she was worried about me. And at that time, I had been home around 3 years, and I was like, for what? Why are you worried about me? I was like, I've done everything to keep my promise to you. I told you that, I would finish my time out the right way, that I would go back to school, that I would educate myself, that I would become a good person, that I would become a coach, that I would teach people, that I would mentor people, that I would help people. Like, since I've come home, I've been super successful. I'm making money. I have my own place. I'm doing well. I'm putting my shows together. Like, everything's coming together. Like what am I missing here? Like, what do you mean? And she was like, not that stuff, Larry. She was like, I know that. She's like, you don't have nothing to prove anymore. She's like, every single person that meets you comes back to me and brags to me about what a good person you are. That's not what I'm talking about. She said, I'm not talking about financially or working or any of that stuff. She said, I'm talking about your inner peace.
Right.
She said, when are you going to find love? When are you going to find happiness? When are you going to find your peace? She said, all you do is spend all your time trying to help other people, trying to make other people happy, trying to coach people, mentor people, take on their responsibilities, their burdens, and their problems, but when are you going to find your happiness?
Right.
And I was like, what? Listen and everything. Took my mom home. I told her I love her. It was the day after Christmas. That was Tuesday night. It was Tuesday night. Thursday morning, I got a phone call. It was my mom's phone. But it was the coroner calling me from my mom's phone saying that she died. She had a heart attack watching TV.
Wow.
65. And that conversation, those words stuck out to me, man, and played over and over in my head, over and over and over. And I remember having to ask myself, what do you like to do, Larry? What makes you happy? I couldn't answer those questions.
Yeah.
I was sitting there like confused, like to watch movies sometimes. I didn't have any answers, man. Really,
Right.
seriously, I didn't. And I had to do some soul searching and ask myself, like, who am I? What makes me happy? Because just helping everybody else all the time and just working on being successful isn't the answer. Because I can't even answer a simple question of what makes me happy and what I like to do. So, I had to be honest with myself. So then I started to take time off and I started to go do things. I started spending a lot more times with my daughters and my family. And, I started to go hiking. I started to go on vacation. I refound my love for water. So it doesn't matter if I'm at a lake, the ocean, or a swimming pool. As long as I'm around water, I have peace. And I realized that, And then I started to go and live and enjoy life and go to concerts and starting to enjoy what life is again. And then I met my wife and I fell in love. And people say when you fall in love, eventually after time it goes away. And in 5 years it has not only not gone away, it has gotten stronger every single day. I absolutely adore my wife, man. She is the most amazing person in the world. It's brought pure joy and happiness to my life. I remember one night laying on not that hammock, but a different hammock about 4 years ago, and looking up at the stars, and I was holding Jess in my arms, and I had tears coming out my eyes. I wasn't crying, but I literally had tears coming out my eyes, because I had this overwhelming feeling of, this is what my mom was talking about. This is what she meant.
She sent you the blessing.
Yeah. So, I would say, the journey of self-understanding, self-enlightenment, self-love, and knowing what I like to do and doing things for myself, and then the ultimate prize, being given the most beautiful relationship that you could possibly have, and having the relationship that I have with my wife in my life, and just everything in my life is so beautiful. Just so thankful and blessed, man.
Yeah.
Couldn't be happier.
No, I mean that's an amazing thing. A lot of people search for that. So if you could say anything to the youth, what would it be and why?
If I had my way, like if there was a secret method that I had that I could implement one thought into every young person's mind, it would be to not worry or care what other people think about you. I think that it would save you so much trauma, so much stress, so much adversity, so much unwanted problems, so much overthinking, so much worrying. We don't understand. They say that the youth is wasted on the young. We don't understand a lot of things when we're young, and we live in a world where we're judged by our actions or how we dress or how we fit in or the things we say or the things we do. It's only when you let go of worrying about what other people think about you that you truly become free in this world. So if I could get young people to understand that at a young age, I think that would change people's life the better for the rest of their lives, because I say don't fit in, fit out. 80% of people walking this planet are sheep that are just being ushered through life, that are doing what their parents told them to do, their teachers told them to do, their priests told them to do, the TV told them to do, the politicians told them to do, social media told them to do, the newspaper told them to do, their neighbors told them to do, their co-workers told them to do, their friends told them to do. We become almost brainwashed to a certain extent. A lot of people don't even know who they are or what they like or why their decisions are the way they are. They have been indoctrinated to think and act a certain way, and a lot of their opinions and ideas aren't even their own opinions or ideas. And you have 80% of people going through life just ushered down a line like sheep. And then you have 20%, they're like wolves. And the wolves are like, the Michael Jordans of the world, the Elon Musks of the world, the, Bill Gates of the world, the Robert Johnsons of the world, where people are going by and they're looking at them and they think that they're amazing and they don't understand how they're so much different. Well, one of the things that has separated them is they don't care what you think about them. They don't care what everyone's told them to be or how to think or how to be. They know who they are, and that's all that matters to them, as long as they're okay with who they are. They don't try to fit in. They are who they are. You can fit in with them, but they're not going to fit in with you. They don't want to be like you.
Right.
Everyone else wants to be like them.
Right.
So I try to tell the youth, don't try, because I mentor a lot of people. There's a couple kids I'm mentoring right now, and I actually was asked this question and told them this about maybe 1 month ago. I said, I know that's hard for you to understand now, because you want to be cool, you want to worry about your social status, you want to worry about people worry about how you dress or how you act. I was like, you got to just stop that. I was like, because I promise you this, when you leave high school, you'll never think about that BS again anyways.
Right.
You have I heard David Goggins say this one time. Me and my wife was listening to David Goggins when we were on a trip. I like him because he's no BS, he's straight to the point.
Right.
And he said the most freeing feeling he ever discovered in his life was when he decided to stop worrying about what other people thought about him.
Yeah.
So I would say that if you could stop worrying about what other people think about you, or worry about what other people think about your decisions or your job choices or your clothes choices or any of that stuff, and just as long as you know inside that you're solid, that you're good with your decisions, that you're being a good person for things, so people don't like you for your tattoos, so what? So people don't like you because you wear your hat backwards, so what? If people don't like you because you wear tennis shoes, so what? So people don't like you because you said a cuss word on there, so what? So people don't like you because of this or this or this or this or this, so what? I don't care if you don't like me because of these decisions. Right. It doesn't change my happiness. It doesn't change my decision making. It doesn't change any of that. At the end of the day, my wife knows this. You know what my wife knows? That she has the best possible husband she can find. You know what my kids know? My dad absolutely loves me. He'll do anything for me. You know what the guys that work for me know? Man, Larry is golden. He will give you money. He will take care of you. He will never let you down. You know what my friends know about me? Man, that man will give you a shirt off his back. Thanks. That man is a good man. So I don't care what anybody else thinks about me, right? I worry about my decisions in my life. If I could share that knowledge and give that freedom, because that's what it is, it's freedom. Yeah. Once you stop caring what other people think about you and worry about other people, it's freedom. I wish that I could give that freedom to other people so they can live free.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you worry about what everybody else says or thinks or does, then they don't do nothing but add more stress to you, and you sit here worrying about this and that. And it's like, why am I worried about what this person over here thinks about me when they mean nothing? They're just somebody like me. You know, I mean, I can move on with my life. I ain't gotta sit here and I had that issue for a long time. You knew that. I was always like that. Especially back when we were incarcerated, it was, you know, I tried to be cool with my buddies and whatever. After a while, I mean, it took me a few years, probably 10 years after coming home, you know, and my brother, he used to scream it to me all the time. He's like, man, stop worrying about what everybody thinks, man. He's like, you know, you worry so much about them, not about you. How you fixing yourself? So I was like, you know what? I was like, yeah, I need to pick myself up, you know?
I would say 9 out of every 10 people look outwardly instead of inwardly.
Right.
If we were to flip that and have 9 out of every 10 look inwardly instead of outwardly, this would be a much better world.
Oh, yeah.
People would be much better. People would be a lot happier. You can't fix your problems trying to appease other people on the outside. You can only fix your problems and become better by looking inward and fixing inward.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, a question that I saw that you had on there, I know it's your question, so I don't want to jump the gun, but I read it, and one of the questions was one of the most difficult things I had to overcome since I came home.
Yeah.
That is one of the questions you had on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, my bad for reading your questions.
It's okay.
I thought about that, you know, and it was like, when I read it, it was like a neon sign flashing. It was my mother dying, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, it was like deja vu to me because as a young man, I felt like, so I understood and I made peace with my mom. For a long time, I think I had some hard feelings because some really bad stuff was done to me as a young man, and I felt like my mom didn't put me in the best situations. I let that go, and I understand my mom's struggles, you know, and we became really close, and I love my mom, and I miss my mom dearly. But I felt like it was deja vu, and when I was younger, my grandfather was my world, and he was in great shape, you know, but he had a heart attack suddenly out of the blue on Christmas Eve morning and died at 75, you know, and so Christmas was always a little bittersweet to me. For that to happen to me, you know, a couple years after coming home, deja vu, 20 years later, same thing. My mom died the day after Christmas, same way of a heart attack at a young age, at 65. I've just become okay with it in the last year.
Yeah.
You know, it was 5 years ago when it happened.
Yeah,
It took me about 4 years to really digest that, man.
Yeah.
And I'm not to say that I'm still okay with it. It was about a year ago when I finally came to peace with it. I didn't talk to my mom for 4 years because I think I didn't want to acknowledge that she was dead and I would never see her again.
Right.
So about a year ago, my wife encouraged me to start talking to her, and it was a tough pill for me to swallow because it was almost like I had to acknowledge, like, she's gone and I'm never going to see her again, right? But it was freeing in the fact that, you know, now I can speak to my mom whenever, like, knowing she's there, and then I can talk to her. But anyone that's lost a parent knows that that's a horrible feeling, right? But then at a young age, at 65, and I was so disappointed, and maybe this is selfish, but I got in so much trouble and lived my life so messed up, you know, from about 15 to 22. I felt so bad. And then, you know, I had to spend 13 years in prison. I felt so bad that I had let my mom down and that I wasn't the man that I should be for those years. And even though she got to see me in prison for the last 10 years be a much better man, in the first 3 years I was home be a much better man, I felt shortchanged. I felt like she got shortchanged because I felt like she deserved to see all of the things that I have become and done. But I think I was looking at it wrong. I think I was looking at it from the physical form, and I was really disappointed that she physically wasn't here to see, you know, the man that I've become and the things that I've done. So I had to switch my mindset to, she's not here in the physical form, but in the spiritual energy form. Energy never dies. Energy just changes, you know, form. So she actually does get to see, you know, who I've become and the things I've done. But that was definitely the biggest obstacle, man.
But the thing on that, though, to touch on what you were just saying, like, do you really think that you would have been able to produce and do what you wanted to do like that if you wouldn't have went to jail?
No. Jail saved my life. And I was in prison. Prison saved my life. Prison saved my life because I was either going to die in the streets or commit some more serious crimes and
Yeah.
spend the rest of my life in there.
Yeah.
So the 15-year sentence and the 13-year timeout actually changed my life, made me the man I am today, and allowed me to grow. Not too many people, I don't think many people would sacrifice from the age of 22 to 35, but I know this. I needed that sacrifice because that time out of sitting down and re-educating myself, growing my brain, growing my body, growing my being, becoming the person if I hadn't done that, I would not be the person I am today.
Right.
And, I'm thankful for everything I've done. I'm thankful for the crimes I committed. I'm thankful for the time I did. I'm thankful for the failed relationships that I had. I'm thankful for the jobs I got turned down from. I'm thankful for any failure that I ever had. I'm thankful for the terrible things that happened to me as a kid. I'm thankful for all these things. And the reason I'm thankful for all these things is because I truly believe that the things that happen to us in life make us who we are.
Right.
And if you went back and you changed any one of those things, I wouldn't be exactly, I'm not saying I wouldn't be me, but I wouldn't be exactly
Right.
who I am. And I'm happy with exactly who I am.
Perfect.
And it took all of those things to make me this.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that because it's basically coming out of chaos and turmoil and all the pain and everything, you turned it to a better picture instead of going in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Because you could have done a lot of different things. I mean, people commit suicide or just going by the things that you have been through, knowing you've been through. I mean, those are hard points, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So to push yourself and to stay focused, and I said this earlier, it's all attainable. Everything that you've done, anybody that's been convicted of a crime, gone to jail, whatever, you can pick yourself up, you can change yourself and be a better person. And that's kind of why I was asking about what state of the youth, because, you went to jail young, you lost your youth in jail, you know what I mean? And that made you to be a better man, not only just that in itself, but, everything that transpired to where it went. But, you're doing it the way it's supposed to be done, man. And I admire that, and I told you that before. I mean, you're going in a direction that most men dream about doing, and you're not dreaming, you're running the race. You're leading the pack, so,
There's a story I heard one time of a guy that got in and he was in a cab and he was saying that so-and-so had an idea and, he made millions of dollars off of it, and then the cab driver looked at him and was like, that's not special. I have great ideas, all kinds of stuff to do with it. And the guy looked at him and said, the difference between them and you is they take their thoughts and turn them into action.
Right.
That stuck with me because that is true. Every single one of us have good ideas. The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Right.
Everyone has good intentions. Everyone has good thoughts. Everyone has good ideas, good inventions, good dreams in their head. But not everybody takes the time to execute and manifest those into reality.
Right.
That's what separates people. So are you going to allow yourself to be a dreamer or a doer?
Right.
So if I have ideas and dreams and goals, I'm going to act on them. I'm going to push forward to reach those. I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm not going to waste the air that I was given to just blow it out my mouth and talk about it.
Right.
I'm actually going to put the action steps in to make it happen.
Yeah.
It was funny, me and my wife was at her parents' house, I think it was 3 years ago. And I remember we were sitting in their kitchen, we were sitting at the bar stools, and we mentioned, I said, I'm getting ready to open up a landscaping company and then we're going to open up a real estate company. And then literally right after that, I opened up the landscaping company because it's in year 3 now. And the real estate company is about a year and a half in, which it has 3 phases to it. It's real estate, rentals, and renovations. And the other day I said to Jess, I said, I wonder if your parents remember that conversation and we told them that we was going to do this, and they were like, hey, you know what? Remember they told us they was going to do that? But I think that sometimes that slips past people because I think a lot of times people say things that they're going to do or want to do, but don't actually put in the work to do them.
Right.
And that's what separates a lot of people, man. It's pretty simple. Like I hear people say they want to lose weight, but you can't lose weight from your couch watching TV. I hear people say they want to start their own business. Well, you can't start a business by just saying you want to start a business. You have to actually do some work to start the business.
Right.
I hear people say like they want to find a good relationship, and they want to be happy and stuff. Well, you can't find a good relationship and being happy, chasing people and being in people's DMs and sweating every girl or guy that goes past you. Like you have to actually approach that in a smart, decent way.
Right.
So no matter what it is, man, you just have to put forth action to your thoughts. Otherwise, they're just wasted thoughts.
Yeah. And again, like you said, don't worry about what other people think, even about your thoughts.
No.
And if you got something that you're working on, that kind of go inside what you were saying, because if you worry about what everybody says, it's going to push you away from your ideas. And that's another thing is don't worry about what other people say, because if some people might not agree with what you were saying you were going to do, and look at you now. You know what I mean?
If you have great parents, what I'm about to say, if you have great parents that push you and tell you that there's no limitations, you can do everything you want, I'm not talking about you and I'm not talking about your parents. But not all parents are like that, trust and believe. If you don't have those type of parents, I definitely am talking to you. I read an article the other day that says, do not tell your parents your dreams. Because the majority of parents think smaller than you think. And even if they actually want you to succeed, they want you to not fail more than they want you to succeed. So they'll tell you, temper your expectations, be a little bit more realistic. Not many people make it to the end. There's 400 million people in the United States, only 400 professional NBA basketball players. So calm down, you're probably not going to be able to make it. So those are dream crushers.
Yeah.
So be careful. An article was saying, don't tell your parents your dreams or your aspirations, because you don't want them to shut that down. You actually want people that are going to encourage you to.
Right.
One thing I did, Dino, man, is that the entire time I was incarcerated, you know how many people asked me, from my mom to my dad to my uncle to my cousins to my friends, what are you going to do when you get home? I never would answer, not one single time. I refused to. Now, I had all these goals and aspirations that I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the fitness industry. I wanted to be in the real estate industry. I wanted to be a motivational speaker. I wanted to help mentor and coach people. But I never would answer those questions. Not one single time would I answer someone's questions when they asked me. Because I knew by the law of attraction that I was going to think it. Then when I came home, not in there, I was going to speak it, and then I was going to put in the actions to manifest it to reality. And I didn't want anyone's negative energy or negative feedback. And I'm not saying they would have. I don't know what they would have said. All I know is I made a decision. I'm not telling nobody. I'm just going to show everybody.
Yeah, and I mean, I see that with you, because you were very reserved in there. And I mean, going back to your workout regimen stuff, man, it was crazy, because I mean, I was sitting there thinking just a second ago about the old dirt bags and the water bags, and I'm like, man,
People don't know about that, man.
Yeah, they don't know. I mean, get it how you get it, right?
Yeah. Man, I used to have big cinder blocks, and it would be like 20 degrees outside, no gloves on. I got cinder blocks in my hand, cutting my hands. I'm laying down on a fake bench I made, doing chest flies, and people are looking at me like, what in the hell is wrong with him?
Yeah. Well, it was funny because you said something about it. You would go out for your rec and stuff like that. But don't let Larry fool y'all, man. He can't hoop too. he can't. He was one of the only white boys on the basketball court out there hooping. So don't let him lie to you.
I tell my wife stories about me playing basketball sometimes, and I wonder to myself if she ever thinks, oh, he's hyping himself up.
No, that's no hype. He was on it. He was handball, basketball, every aspect of whatever they had out there. Did you ever go to the gym and play on like any of the volleyball teams and stuff?
I did. I got into a fight at Libra on the basketball court in the gym, and got in a fight with a Muslim and started damn near a riot. It was bad. It's pretty rough. But yeah. But I did tell her this. I did tell her about the basketball. I said one of the reasons that people do avoid playing basketball in prison is, one thing people don't understand about prison is there's certain areas where you're almost guaranteed at some point you're going to have some drama. Yeah. And one of those areas is the basketball court.
Oh, yeah.
So a lot of people would avoid basketball because if you play basketball in prison, it's only a matter. It's not when.
It's just a matter of
It's just a matter of time. Like, it's not a matter of if. It's just a matter of when. Because at some point in time,
somebody gonna fight.
Yeah, you're gonna get into it on the basketball court.
Or the handball court. I've seen it out there too quite a few times.
Yeah, I think.
But it's more on the basketball court than anything.
It is, and I got into it. I would say during my sentence, I'd say.
Didn't you get in a fight at Tuberville?
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah, I'd say maybe about 5 times.
Yeah.
But you know, like everywhere else, once you get into it and people see like, oh shit, he can fight,
Yeah.
they're not going to try you as much. Like I got in a fight with Ty there, the bald-headed dude
Yeah.
from Columbia, and beat his ass pretty easily.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I think that like, you know, in a predatory environment, the way that works is people prey on the weaker. And even if another person in their head thinks that they can still take you, if they know like that dude's going down swinging to the end,
Yeah.
they're going to avoid that. They don't necessarily want that issue. They're going to go in a different direction to pick the weakest target possible. That's just the way predatory environments work. So once you have a certain amount of altercations and people understand like, not only will he defend himself, he can actually really fight.
Yeah.
People are going to tend to leave you alone for the most part.
I seen an incident like that one time. I was at Kershaw and this young kid came in. His name was Nate, and he's from like Hendrick or somewhere like that in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
But he killed like the mayor's daughter or something. But he was in there, had like a 40-year sentence or whatever. First day on the yard, he comes in. He come from Perry.
Mm-hmm.
So when he came in, they did that youth thing or whatever. Remember they did the under 21
Yeah.
program? Well, I was at Kershaw. And he goes upstairs and he puts his bag in the room. And as soon as he goes in the room, like 4 dudes run in the room on him, man. And I don't know what happened, but they come running out fast. Like apparently, well, 3 of them did. One of them was in there. Nate was just beating them. I'm like, y'all picked the wrong one to mess with. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and in there it's a crazy world. I mean, just everything involved. It don't matter. It could be a calm, cool day, and you can feel the tension.
Oh yeah.
And people don't realize that. Like you could just feel that burn. So
Yeah. The prison stories are for another time.
yeah.
But now I appreciate you coming on and taking the time to come down here and do the interview.
Yes, sir.
It's been a while. It's good to see you. I mean, if you guys are watching or listening to this video today, please take the time to like, share, subscribe. Man, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. You know, we're going to keep sending these positive videos your way. Thank you for coming out, brother.
Absolutely.
This has been another episode of the Be the Best You podcast. Until next time, try to fly.